You and I both know that you are more than ready to step into your calling and do it like a boss, feeling unwaveringly sure that you're on the path that's meant for you and you're ready to experience it all. And the worst thing you can do is let misconceptions derail you from that. So in today's video, we're diving into 3 counterintuitive truths every dreamer should know and the reasons they matter, ensuring you stay aligned and moving toward your vision. By the end of this video, you're going to feel validated, empowered, and better equipped to pursue your dream. Whether your calling is to teach money tips with biblical wisdom, helping others master video editing, becoming the next Christian Dior, or something else entirely, this episode is for you. Welcome to this space specifically for big dreamers, high achievers, and visionaries. Those who either have a big vision for themselves or just know that they are meant for something unbelievably amazing in this life. I'm Chelsea Childers, and I was recording Made for More this past week when I referred to us big dreamers and go-getters as thoroughbred horses, built for speed and success, often doing more in a day than most do in a week, and always with a fire inside of us burning for more, better, faster, different. And not everyone is bred that way, and that's okay. There are all types of amazing horses. I don't know exactly what those are, but horses in general are awesome. And to me, thoroughbred horses, aka us go-getters, visionaries, change makers, are the most awesome because, man, there is so much impact, influence, and abundance built up inside of us. You following me? So these misconceptions that we're going to talk about, we can't let them derail us from what we're here to do in this world. We can't let them derail us from making the impact we want to make, living the life we want to live, branching out and making waves in our specific industry. From my perspective, we've got to pursue our dreams and achieve our vision with the utmost confidence and clarity because that's our jet fuel. And without that, we either won't get to where we want to go or our dreams will be vanilla, watered down, and a carbon copy of someone else's strategy. Ugh! Get out of here. We ain't got time for that. We've got a legacy to leave, a world to change, and a generation to impact. You with me? So these misconceptions, let's break them like a board in a Chuck Norris roundhouse kick. Misconception number 1. It is selfish to want more. You know, we often feel like wanting more is a sign that we're being ungrateful or we're somehow not content with what we have. I remember when I realized I wanted more in my life than my solid career as a project manager, a job that came with a great salary and stability. And I felt so ungrateful for wanting something different. I was like, who am I to want more? Who do I think I am to dream of making a bigger impact, to do something beyond following in my mom's footsteps, or even veer off the path I had set for myself since I was a little girl? It felt like I was betraying everything that had brought me to that point in my life. And then there's that little voice, and you know the one I'm talking about, right? The voice that says, shouldn't you just figure out how to be more thankful for what you have? I mean, look at all your blessings. Why aren't they enough for you? And this voice is relentless, isn't it? But let me tell you, you wanting more has nothing to do with how grateful or ungrateful you are. Gratitude and wanting more are like a cat and a Roomba. They don't even operate in the same universe. They don't have anything to do with each other. So if you've been hearing that little voice lately, I want you to make a commitment right now and picture that thought as a crumbled up piece of paper and toss it right into the trash. Now, I'm not asking you to pretend that this thought and this voice doesn't exist, but I am asking you to decide that from now on, you'll treat your gratitude and your desires as two completely unrelated concepts. Let me tell you, the belief that wanting more is selfish, that is societal programming talking. It's a belief that we often pick up somewhere along the way, and we carry it with us, probably without even realizing it. And for some strange reason, it became the trend for us to think that ambition equals greed or dissatisfaction. It's as if dreaming bigger or striving for more is some betrayal of our contentment or humility. And as Michelle Tanner would say, no way, Jose. It's as silly as thinking that money is the root of all evil. No, it's not. Money is amazing, and so is ambition. But I know that just by you understanding that this is societal programming talking doesn't make the thought magically vanish, does it? So let's break this down for a second. And personally, I love understanding the why behind our beliefs so I can use that knowledge as a shield when my mind starts throwing daggers at me, like this one. So wanting more isn't selfish, it's human. And it means that by allowing ourselves to want more and more, we're aligning with who God created us to be. We're stepping into our true selves. This is being most like our true nature. Wanting more is in alignment with our true nature. We were created to want more. Whether you believe in God or something else, you were created to want more. You weren't created to put a lid on yourself. You weren't made to face a glass ceiling. You weren't made to reach the top and stop. No, you were made to keep going and going and going. When we feel selfish, those feelings are actually proof that we're out of alignment with who we were meant to be. Think about it. We are not designed to feel selfish for desiring growth or more fulfillment to be happier in life. So when we do feel selfish, it's not proof that wanting more is wrong. It's proof that this belief is trying to squash us back down, like a lid keeping a pot from boiling over. You following me? Selfishness isn't an inherent part of us. It's foreign. And when we recognize that, we can see that wanting more is the exact opposite. It's allowing ourselves to blossom. And that word makes me cringe. But I could not think of a better analogy that when we allow ourselves to want more in life, we want more for ourselves, we want more impact, more success, more abundance, more freedom, that can look so many different ways to each of us. Either way, at its core, wanting more is what allows, if we're a flower, it's what allows us, our petals, to bloom, to blossom, to expand, to open up. When we don't want more, our flower, aka us and our lives, it stays closed. They stay closed. And so when we can get to the place where we fully allow ourselves and allow our petals, following this analogy, to really open, to stretch, to dream, to imagine, to try new things, to go after it, then we're being more in alignment with our true selves. And from my perspective, that's when life really gets fun. So wanting more is that spark inside of us that urges us to grow, create, expand, and align. Wanting more is like a divine nudge that says, you've been running 5Ks like a champ, and now it's time to start training for that 10K. Wanting more is your divine promotion. And like I was starting to say, the sooner you allow yourself to fully own that more inside of you without apologizing for it, without feeling guilty, lonely, crazy, or selfish for it, the sooner your journey becomes exhilarating. And for me, finally allowing myself to want more than my corporate career, which was the first time I had ever realized that I might want more in life. I felt like I was reaching the top of the roller coaster, throwing my hands up and screaming, yeah! But when we let selfishness win, it feels more like being stuck in the slow lane behind a tractor when you're late for a flight. It's frustrating and limiting. It pushes us to settle for a good life, holding us in that zone of mediocrity while our potential and what's possible for us just sits there, unused and gathering dust. And the worst part, it stifles the impact we're capable of making, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us. So the next time you catch yourself feeling guilty for wanting more, remember this. It's not about rejecting what you have. It's about realizing that you were literally put on this earth to desire more. Those selfish feelings, they're a sign that you're still racing like a prize horse, ready to burst out of the stall. But my dear thoroughbred, it is time to internally bust open that door and run after whatever more is calling to you. Woo! Misconception number 2. The best way to get clear on your calling is to take action. All right, I'm about to go toe-to-toe with John Maxwell here. And I say this with all the love, as much as I respect that man and agree that action precedes clarity. From my perspective, it's not the whole picture when we're going after our dreams and our vision. And yes, those essential steps of defining your niche, getting funding, or setting up your studio are important. And they can help you discover what your calling is or help you get clear on where you're going. But again, from my perspective, when we are walking in our calling and going after our purpose, action alone, it's not the ultimate key to clarity. The real key is aligning with yourself first. So let me explain what this can look like in real life.
Hey fam, just taking a quick break from this deep dive. I hope you're loving it as much as I am. First, did you know that 75% of the people who tune in aren't actually subscribed? So if that's you, I want to say thank you for listening and thank you for being here. If you could hit that subscribe button, that would be amazing. Now, the second thing, if 2024 brought more questions for you than clarity, and you're hoping that 2025 will be different, I invite you to Grounded in Greatness. It's an online movement I'm hosting through January, where instead of hoping that 2025 will be different, we start creating that sense of alignment and clarity now. So if you have been wanting to embrace your ambitions without feeling guilty for them, really know that you're on the right path and moving toward your next level, feeling as calm and confident as a dog sunbathing in the yard, then Grounded in Greatness is for you. I'll drop the link down in the description so you can check it out, and I would love to see you there. Also, I'll be doing a live Q&A from now on every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer your questions from the most recent video or any questions in general. You can submit your question using the form in the description or just ask it during your live. Either way, I can't wait to answer your questions and have more conversations with you. Now, let's jump back into the episode.
When I took the leap and left my corporate career, following the nudge on my heart to make a bigger difference in this world and a bigger impact, I immediately jumped into network marketing, selling skincare. Why? Because it was the first opportunity that came my way. And I thought, that must be what all of those feelings were about. They were pointing me towards network marketing. And spoiler alert, it wasn't, but I jumped in. And without even pausing to think about what kind of impact I actually wanted to make. I didn't pause to think about what I wanted for my life, what I envisioned. I didn't even pause to think about what I could see myself doing day in and day out, regardless of how much money I made. I just saw others who had helped hundreds of people, if not thousands, and made millions. And I thought, sign me up. So there I was, cranking out my list of prospects, sending 50 plus copy and paste messages every day, and going to all the events. And 2 years later, I wasn't any clearer than when I started. In fact, I was even more confused. Why? Because action doesn't automatically bring clarity. Alignment does. Let me break this down further. To me, alignment is about knowing who you are, what you want, and what you're called to do, regardless of what people think, regardless of what you think you should do, or even regardless of what makes sense. To me, getting into alignment, for example, is about learning to let go of the pressure to have every step planned. It's about learning to follow what feels right and true to you and to say no to what doesn't, and learning to move from a place of flow rather than force. Because we can't bulldoze our way to our purpose, nor can we build our dreams the way that others do things. Our calling requires us to be the fullness of who we are, so it can be the fullest expression of what it's meant to be. And the version of you that got you here isn't the one who's going to live out your calling. Believe me, I am a completely different person than I was 8 years ago when I stepped outside of corporate. The people who knew me then, I can only imagine what they think about the transformation and the person I have evolved to, because I'm literally a night and day. At least it feels that way. I'm literally night and day in so many ways. My husband even cracks up all the time because who I was 3 months ago or even a month ago isn't the same person as I am now. Why? Because my calling and my dreams are evolving and expanding, which means that I am too, right? I'm evolving more and more into alignment. I am becoming more and more the fullness of who I'm meant to be. Because as our calling grows and as we become more clear on our calling, that requires an evolution within us too. All right, so let me talk about alignment in those smaller moments also, not just in the bigger moments. So just this past Saturday, I woke up feeling exhausted, and I had planned to prep for this very video, but I knew that if I sat down to work in that state, you guys would probably be able to smell the exhaustion through your speakers. And nobody wants to listen to that. So in other words, I would have been showing up out of alignment. Rather than diving in, I took a nap. And when I woke up, I still felt off. So instead of forcing it, I asked myself, what do I feel like doing? What sounds fun right now? And the answer was listening to a motivating YouTube video and organizing our home gym. And an hour later, after rearranging the equipment and making space for my new office setup, I was ready to go. I felt aligned and inspired. And so then I sat down to prep. And off and on for the next few hours, everything just clicked. And it was one of those moments where I could hardly contain my excitement for how it was coming together. And that's alignment first, action second. You feel inspired and on cloud nine. Things just flow and happen naturally. Whether you're prepping an episode, whether you're speaking, whether you're looking for models or making an offer for your client, it all just flows and it feels easy. But if you take action because you feel like you should take action or because that's what other people did, then you're not playing your game. You're building your dreams by someone else's blueprint, thinking it's what's right for you. And if you do that, you're missing the key ingredient, which is you. So when your actions come from a place of alignment, it's like switching from arrested bike to a turbocharged electric scooter. Everything just flows. Your motivation is high. Things feel easy. And suddenly the path just makes sense. But taking action without that alignment for us, it's like setting out on a road trip without a map or a GPS. You'll cover some distance for sure, but who knows where you're going to end up. So bottom line is that clarity doesn't come just from doing. It comes from doing what is in alignment for you. So before diving into anything, hit pause. Take time with what is genuinely right for you and what feels right for you. Because your calling is as unique as you are. And it starts with knowing yourself and letting that alignment lead the way. Misconception number 3, that you'll have no more doubts when you're pursuing your dreams. All right, let's set the record straight on this one. Pursuing your dreams, meaning actually going after it and taking that action like I was talking about, it doesn't mean you'll never have doubts again. Because spoiler alert, doubts are part of the journey. It's like thinking once you've learned how to ride a bike, you'll never wobble again. Guess what? You're still going to hit the occasional pothole, swerve to dodge a squirrel, or maybe even topple over once in a while. It's all part of the ride, right? Why? Because with new levels come new devils. At every stage of fulfilling our dreams brings its own set of fears and uncertainties. You conquer one fear, and another one dressed in a fancier hat just waltzes right in. It's like playing a video game. Just when you think you've defeated the boss, a more elaborate one with glowing eyes and too many arms shows up. But here's the thing. That's normal. The goal isn't to banish doubt completely. It's to recognize it and embrace it as a part of your growth. So let's say you're opening a bakery that specializes in custom cakes and you're thinking, can I really do this? Or you're about to hit publish on your YouTube channel where you teach creative writing tips and you're wondering, will anyone actually get value out of these? Maybe you're starting a men's group and asking yourself, who am I to lead this? And these doubts don't mean you're on the wrong path or aren't getting it right. They mean that there's a gap between your current belief and your new vision. And you know what? That's actually a good thing. It means you're moving into new, uncharted territory and you're evolving. Like I was talking about earlier, every new external leap comes with an internal one. And that's the beauty of stepping into our calling more and more. So think about it. If you never doubted yourself, you probably would be living in a bubble-wrapped world, watching reruns of shows you've memorized and never venturing out to try anything new. Let me tell you, I have yet to meet a single successful person who says, yeah, I never doubted myself once. No, even the most confident people admit they have moments when their brains go, hey, are you sure about this? Are we really doing this? And you get to say, yes, we are doing this. And it's time to level up my belief to the level of my desire. Here's the key. The goal is to make friends with your doubts in a sense, not run from them or pretend like they don't exist. Don't be ashamed of them because there's no growth there. We're only building internal resistance when we do that. So let's say for you, your next level looks like writing an ebook on financial literacy or taking a leap to open a fitness studio that blends dance and strength training. Just examples. Whatever your next level looks like, doubts will show up like that nosy neighbor peeking over the fence. And you can't make them disappear, but you can decide what kind of attention you're going to give them. Are you going to say, "Ugh, I can't stand you, go away, nosy neighbor"? Or are you going to say, "Okay, I see you, nosy neighbor, and I want to get to know you and see where you're coming from"? And trust me, when you lean in and let doubt be heard, it loses its power. So spring 2023, up to that point, I had already successfully coached dozens of other big dreamers and high achievers. And I had, in the spur of the moment, said yes to co-hosting my largest event to date. I partnered with a comedian I had never met before. And during our first conversation, we decided to put on this event. Think about how crazy that sounds, right? We were so excited as we planned the event. The whole time we were excited. Until one day, the familiar voice crept in, the voice of self-doubt. And I felt confident in my ability to coach people, of course. But hosting a successful live event of this caliber was a whole different beast for me. What if no one shows up? Was my biggest fear. And if no one showed up, it would feel like hosting a birthday party as a 10-year-old, inviting all the cool kids and sitting there waiting with all the cake and decorations as no one came. So after 7 months of booking the venue, looking for sponsors, building the website, and everything else that went into planning this event, we were just so excited to get it out there. And finally, the invitations went out. And later, I checked my signups expecting a sold-out response. But to my dismay, no one signed up. Not one single person, not even my mom. My heart sank. Whew. And those doubts, boy, they got a hold on me. Who do you think you are to host an event like this? See, no one is going to show up. No one cares. And naively, I thought that I had rock solid confidence. But as it turned out, new level, new devil. And for a moment, to be honest with you, I wanted to cancel the whole thing and just forget about it. But I knew better. It was too late at that point. So over the next few weeks, I used my handy dandy tools that I've learned just in studying psychology to really guide myself through all of these doubts that I was having. And I focused on building my belief even more that my worth wasn't defined by the number of signups. After a few weeks, I felt empowered, and I kept feeling more and more empowered. I kept promoting the event. And soon 2 people registered, which felt more like 100. And by the day of the event, we were welcoming 120 attendees and 5 sponsors. Woo! Oh, it's so exciting. Oh, I was so thankful that it all came together. So the night before the event, sitting under fluorescent lights at 1 a.m. when I had to be up at 5 a.m. because I was finishing my speech, I felt a strange calm because I was fully trusting in my calling, knowing that even if I didn't prepare my speech to perfection, and even if things didn't go absolutely perfect the next day, my calling had been preparing me for this moment my whole life. And one of my Instagram followers recently messaged me. She asked me, what was the turning point for you when you went from being worried about what people think about what you're doing to fully believing in yourself and really believing in yourself, allowing yourself to go after it without being so worried about what other people are going to think? And if I could pinpoint any one thing, it would be this: building my belief and my conviction in my calling and what I'm called to do and who I'm called to serve and how I'm supposed to do it. Because believe me, I have never once, and believe me, I have scoured Instagram, I've scoured TikTok and YouTube trying to find somebody who's in my niche. Guess what? I haven't found one. So you know what? I created it. I am the person who is called to supporting big dreamers and high achievers. I'm called to be the one to stand behind them, empowering them, encouraging them, cheering them on, and equipping them to do what they're called to do. And not just do what they're called to do, but do it in a way where they feel confident, they have fun, they love the journey, regardless if they're there yet or not. I have chills right now. I know you can hear it in my voice. That is what I am called to do. And I'm not going to say that I don't care, but regardless of what people think about what I'm doing, regardless of the results that I have, the outcomes, how many people listen to the podcast or watch the YouTube, like regardless, I believe wholeheartedly in what I'm called to do and who I'm called to serve, and everything else is just a matter of time. Why? Because it's universal law. It is straight up universal law. But if you are someone, and I've definitely been there, where worrying about what people think, wondering what your stepdad is going to think when he watches your YouTube video, or wondering what your ex-boyfriend is going to think when he sees you at the pop-up market, like whatever it is, whatever you're worried about when it comes to that, that is what I would encourage you to do, is to just go all in on believing what you're called to do and who you're called to serve. Because for me, each time that I've just believed in that a little bit more, and really embraced that, then it's given me the ammo and the ability to show up, to do things that nobody else has done, to create 5 programs when everyone else encourages you to focus on one program and mastering that program, to show up on email, YouTube, podcast, TikTok, and Instagram when everyone else encourages you to master one. For me, because I have dialed in so much on who I'm called to serve, what I'm called to do, and how I'm called to do it, that regardless of what anybody says, I'm going and I'm doing the dang thing. And you can either get behind me or you can get on the sidelines and cheer for me or not. But regardless. So, to my Instagram follower, you know who you are, and to anyone else who is in that place where you're wanting to show up, you're wanting to launch that ebook, open that bakery, really take those sketches to life, whatever it looks like, and you're worried about what other people are going to think of you. You're worried about the naysayers. You're worried about no one talking back to you on social media. Oh, that's real. I encourage you, dial in and double down on really believing in what you're called to do. Really believing that you are the person who has been called to do this, and meaning that no matter what, it's going to come. No matter what, you're going to figure it out. But really just focusing on that belief, and as part of that, also acknowledging the doubts inside of you that are saying, you can't do this, you can't have this, you're not worthy of it. Really leaning into those and unpacking them, because like I said earlier, when we learn how to make friends with them, it naturally dissolves their power. Our doubts feel seen. And at the end of the day, that's all our doubts want. And that's all we want as people, is we just want to feel seen and heard. And our insecurities are no different. We just have to get ourselves to the point where we can look at them without feeling like our doubts and insecurities are an attack on us, because they're not. So I hope that little tangent helps you in some way. And going back to the event that I was talking about, I just want you to know that the event went amazingly well, even with some minor hiccups. But when guests thanked me with hugs and tears in their eyes, when a woman literally had a breakthrough in the audience, I couldn't help but think, what would have happened had I listened to all of those doubts and fears of who do you think you are? The laughs would have never happened. The new friendships that would have never been formed. The notebooks I have of epiphanies and insights and ideas for other programs, all of that would have remained blank. And so the power move is this. Acknowledge your doubts, but don't let them drive. Pursuing your dreams means facing each new level with anticipation, knowing that doubts are going to come, but choosing to work through them so your belief rises to meet your desire. And whether you're just starting out or you're a 2-time best-selling author, know that doubts will come. And they don't mean that you're not cut out for your dreams. No, they mean you're growing and stepping into the next version of who you're meant to be. So the next time doubt pops up, remember, it's part of the journey. Let it be proof that you're moving in the right direction. Embrace it, trust your path, and keep going. Because the person who learns to live with doubt is the one who makes it to the finish line. Hands up, hearts racing, ready for whatever comes next. All right, friends, let's bring this full circle. We talked about 3 counterintuitive truths that I think every dreamer should know so that we can move forward with confidence, clarity, and resilience. Wanting more is selfish. No. It's not. It's human. And the more you allow yourself to trust and follow this divine nudge, the more open, expansive, and excited about the future you'll feel. Embracing this truth helps you evolve into who you're called to be and do what you're called to do. The best way to get clear on your calling is to take action. Maybe if your goal is to just build a business, grow a following, or hit a revenue goal. But since you're here to make a big impact and achieve the extraordinary vision you have for your life, we must prioritize alignment first, action second. Because that way we can take action from a place of certainty and groundedness, making every step feel purposeful and fulfilling. Pursuing your dreams means you won't face any doubts. Wrong. Doubts are part of the journey, not a sign to turn back. They're proof that you're pushing into new, exciting levels of your life. They remind you that growth is happening. And that's something to celebrate, not fear. So as you continue on your path, remember these truths. Let them guide you, strengthen you, and empower you to keep moving forward, no matter what stage you're in. Embrace your desires, align with your purpose, and welcome those doubts as proof that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Hey, if you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. And I'd love to see you in Grounded in Greatness for 2025. I would encourage you to sign up right now if you're looking to start off the new year feeling fired up about where you're headed. Let's create clarity and momentum going into 2025 as opposed to starting to try and build clarity and momentum in 2025. Thanks for watching. Remember, your vision is your compass. Stay certain, stay aligned, stay true to yourself.